Help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content.
It's never about where you start a journey. It's always about where you end a journey, right? You can have the worst appearance that we've ever seen in an NFL game, but if you end up improving to the point to where you're a 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback, nobody's going to care about that first appearance, right? This works both ways. You can have the most spectacular debut in NFL history, but if you flame out, you flame out. You know, Charlie Frye technically owns the most impressive debut in Cleveland Browns history as far as stats are considered. Obviously, SHEDEUR's the only one who's won. He flamed out. It doesn't end up really mattering that much, right? It's not where you start the journey, it's where you end the journey. And for SHEDEUR, he had a tough start to his journey. 4 of 16 versus the Baltimore Ravens. Looked like he didn't have good answers versus pressure. Looked like he wasn't prepared at the level that you would expect a backup quarterback to be prepared. This week, much better versus pressure, much better responses to pressure, much better, felt like he was much better prepared for the challenge ahead of him. Ultimately, the one big thing you have to factor in between the 2 weeks, the Raiders are one of the worst teams in football. The Baltimore Ravens are expected to win the division and probably be in the conference championship game. So 2 different levels of challenges. Obviously, both NFL teams, so you're not just going to throw away what he did against the Raiders. But, you know, 2 different levels of challenges. I think everybody understands that. The Raiders are going to be selecting in the top 5 with us if the Browns' record doesn't vastly improve over the next 5 to 6 weeks. So take that for what it is. Take the context of everything that happened for what it is. And understand that we're on the first page turning into the second page of this journey, and we haven't read the whole book yet, positive or negative. The one thing I want to caution people with SHEDEUR about, whether you're a SHEDEUR fan or you're SHEDEUR skeptical, like whatever side of this internet war you're on, remember that we're at the opening pages of the first chapter of this guy's career, right? If the argument is about his career long term and what he will end up being, regardless of if that's in Cleveland or not, we're in the first couple of pages of the first chapter. You're not going to know what's going to happen at the end by reading the first couple of pages of the first chapter. You know, this story might be much longer, might be much different than you imagine it being. Just be open to that idea as we go forward and try not to draw definitive conclusions either way about his career with a small sample size. You know, so that's the main thing, right? Don't get too high with the highs, don't get too low with the lows with SHEDEUR. If he has a bad game, it's not the biggest deal in the world. We don't have to freak out. The sky is not falling. And honest to God, like, please, let's take that advice if he does have a bad game. Like, it doesn't have to be the worst thing in the world, because the way that people have reacted whenever he's had a less than stellar outing has been like mind-boggling to me. But also when he has good moments and good games, you know, let's try to also, you know, be excited to be happy for him, but also not get too carried away that we're putting more on his plate than what he should be ready for at this point of his career. That's all I want with the SHEDEUR discourse. It's just for people to just slow down just a little bit here so we can wait for this story to develop in front of us. With that being said, we're going to look at his first start. We're going to look at all of the passing snaps from his first starts. I think there were some good things here, some things he's going to want to improve, and some things that the Browns can work with SHEDEUR to get more out the offense with him on. So it's going to be a fun day. We're going to look into that. But before I get into that, got to thank my sponsor, Sleeper. Real quick, just want to let you guys know Sleeper has a new offer here. They're offering a free $20 entry, no deposit required. And also, if you're a first-time user, you also will receive a 100% match on up to $100 when you use the promo code Worst Take. Again, $20 free, no deposit required. Plus, first-time users also receive 100% deposit match up to $100. Join Sleeper. All right, so we're looking at SHEDEUR Sanders' film from week 12, his first start. So keep that in mind. There's going to be some things you want him to clean up. If there's something negative that has to be said, it's not the end of the world. It's really something you expect him to be able to improve. And we're going to be reasonable about everything that we see here. Right here is this design, little quick slant. They've run this before. It drives me crazy that they run this with Isaiah Bond. That's my own problem with the offense and what the Browns are doing. It has nothing to do with SHEDEUR. Now, what happens here on this play is the Raiders, they were trying to confuse SHEDEUR, right? Their game plan was, we're going to throw a lot of change ups at him, right? That was the big plan for SHEDEUR this week. And at times it did work, right? They got the interception off of a similar concept here. Right here, the Raiders are, they're trying to identify pre-snap and man. So this is a pretty basic too high man look. You look at the distance between the corners. These are all identifying man. And even through the motion, they're going to keep playing with it where they identify it as man throughout the motion. So what they're trying to do here is confuse SHEDEUR into thinking this is man coverage and then going back out and then playing what looks like a 3-match here. So they're running with Bond and then they drop in the zone. So they try to confuse him. That's exactly what they wanted on the call on 3rd and 8. And that call works, right? My bad. This is not a 3-match. This is just cover 2. I thought the corner was going to carry with how his hips were flipped and how shallow he is to the numbers, but it's just cover 2. So yeah, just they show man, flip it to cover 2, and basically they have 5 bodies there at the line of scrimmage. Isaiah Bond doesn't really have a chance there. If you're looking at this from SHEDEUR's perspective, this is really just feet and ball right here. Let's look at the feet real quick. 1, 2. Yeah, this is fine. I like the feet work on here. Footwork on here. Ball comes out pretty immediately. Yeah, that's exactly what you would ask SHEDEUR to do on that rep. Do they have a zone beater with this? They really don't have a good zone beater here. I mean, they do have this corner, right? So I guess what they have in here to kind of combat that look. So, maybe this is something for later in SHEDEUR's career. Maybe they're not really going to force this right now because they just want him to get down and get some early things right. So you have Isaiah Bond on this little route here, and then you have Gage Larvin running this corner. And, if they do flip into a cover 2 like they do, where this guy, curl flat, hook curl, like they flip into this cover 2 look. So Gage Larvin is going to pop open here on this corner. I don't know, man. That's just a tough one. That's not like, he's not the best receiver in the world. It's not really a clean look here. Like, yeah, he pops open, but it's really because the safety's reacting to where the ball actually goes. I think if the safety's playing that straight up, there's nothing there. So yeah, I don't even think that beats it. It's a real risky throw. It's 3rd and 8, so, maybe you want to go for that, but I honestly don't mind him at this point of his career staying away from that, right? If SHEDEUR becomes like a 2-time Pro Bowler or something like that, or he gets into his 4th year and he's the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, then we're going to start to ask him to make that throw. But for right now in his career, I just this is fine. This is absolutely fine. All right. This is a 2nd and 16. They were behind the sticks a lot in this game. There's a little bit of pressure here. He takes a sack. I am absolutely fine with this sack, right? And look, SHEDEUR, to his credit, when SHEDEUR got pressure, he did exactly what I've been saying he should do. Either out or down, but never loop, 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 loop. The loop stuff is killing him, right? When he's doing the spins and he's twirling around and he's doing all of this shit, hate that. I don't think it's fun. So basic movements, he's a good enough athlete to get away with it. He rolls right, he can do that, right? Steps up, rolls out, he can do that. And this right here, pressure, I think this is a good instinct here to step up. There's really nothing here with how the Raiders are playing this, right? The only answer you can really see is on the backside of this play. It's an out to Jerry Jeudy. But if his pre-snap didn't take him there first, right? So the way this works, half field. And if his pre-snap took him here, so this is the half field that he's reading, then this is not really an option because you can't work back late to this out. That's just going to be an interception. So this is covered. That's covered. The look here that they called offensively, the Raiders had a good call in for it. They were ready for it, right? Both these routes are taken up. The linebacker robots. It's pretty much over for this, right? Maybe if he gets to escape this sack here, he gets a ball to Isaiah Bond, but even then there's a free safety lurking. Yeah, just nothing here, Don't mind this sack. I thought it was a fine enough snap, 3rd and 16. He has a habit of doing this, where it's like a 3rd and long and he just YOLOs this shit. I don't know how I feel about that. Obviously, there's part of me, I've watched so much Dylan Gabriel that I think I'm just happy to see the ball go 20-40 yards downfield, right? So part of me doesn't mind this, and I think that's where the fan base is. But there's another part of me that's play field position there, right? There's nothing wrong with playing field position here, right? Because if you get what's Corey Bojorquez's average on punts? Let me look that up real quick so we can really see what the damage here is. All right, so Corey Bojorquez is averaging about 36 yards a punt. So that means when you punt the ball, you're going to go from here to 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So you're going to go from the 45 to about the 35 if you punt here. So you're still giving them plus field position. So plus field position be anything ahead of the 20 if you're old school. Nowadays, it's ahead of the 30 because it's so easy to get the ball at the 30 now. So you punt from here, you're not going to get plus field position. But if you get 5-10 yards, even if you don't get the first down, you get an opportunity to pin them within the 10. He throws this 9, and maybe this will work better when the guys are used to SHEDEUR's tendencies. Because what happens here is he's running this like what it's intended to be ran as, which is this is a cardio route. This is just a clear, right? You're just trying to clear guys out with this route. You're trying to just clear guys out to open up underneath because the idea here is that you're going to go underneath. He throws to the clear. The clear's not really expecting it, the 9 route here. And it's not a great effort there by the wide receiver. And this happened again to Cedric Tillman, where I think SHEDEUR kind of caught him off guard, throwing a ball that was really not intended. Shout out Deshaun Watson, right? Decoy routes. He threw the decoy here. But yeah, just throws this up here. I get it. And I have an appetite for it now. But if we're playing serious football, I think I want that field position with how dominant the Browns defense is. So it might not be something that gets highlighted on the broadcast or by the average fan here. But this is stuff that good quarterbacks do. Is okay, what do you do when you can't win? How do you get the most winning possible out of a no-win situation? Right here, it's a no-win situation. Yeah, that's a one-on-one look, but your release from your wide receiver isn't clean. And there's a very strong cushion by that corner. It's a very difficult throw. It's real easy for something to go wrong there. again, if you feel like you can make it and if that wide receiver's expecting it, then sure, do it. But, I would much rather in a 3rd and 16, your defense is dominating. Let's just check this thing down to Jerome Ford. Let him get like a couple of yards here and push this ball hopefully to like the 45. If he pushes it to the 45, you could put the Raiders potentially within the 10 or the 5 field position with the punt and play that game here. And some of you guys might be saying, well, that's just pedantic. That's small details. That's the quarterback position, though. That's what you're supposed to be thinking about. I mean, again, I'm not expecting SHEDEUR to have that in or be perfect at that right now. It's just a question of, hey, maybe you want to manage this a little bit differently because the benefit for the defense could be a little bit larger. Not even saying that would be a negatively graded play. I just don't know how to feel about it. All right, first quarter, 3:10 left. They got him out rolling a lot. I don't mind this decision here to Harold Fanon. There's a pressure coming up the middle, which speeds him up. And there were times where he got sped up and he didn't make good decisions here. I think this is fine. Jerry Jeudy would have popped open if he had more time. But once that linebacker chooses him, SHEDEUR makes the easy choice and just replaces him with the ball. And then, hopes Harold Fanon can do the rest. And because Harold Fanon is a fucking beast, he does. Jerry Jeudy got to do a better fucking job than this, though, buddy. Watch Jerry Jeudy on this play. And look, I'm not going to give up on Jerry Jeudy. I'm going to be critical of Jerry Jeudy, but I'm not going to give up on Jerry Jeudy. I want to make that clear. I think he could be a productive player for this team for the rest of his contract. But he's having an off year, and it just starts with moments like this. So, yeah, he pops open. That's cool. Harold Fanon has the ball, and look, Jerry Jeudy looks to block like that. Here. Now, this is where I wish Jerry Jeudy just finished the play. So he engages with the guy. He sees Harold Fanon's up. You should see that and be like, oh shit, let me finish this block. Like, let me really try to block him, just in case he pops up. Instead, he kind of just lets this guy go because he lets this guy go. I mean, if that guy is not there, because 52 just goes for the ball here, right? He's never going to tackle Harold Fanon here. He's punching for the ball. He's trying to get a fumble. That's what he's trying to do here. If Harold Fanon is like able to regather and accelerate again, there's nobody there. Jerry's got to finish that. He's got to actually at least attempt the block there. He did the classic wide receiver. Oh, yeah, let me do something on tape. Nah, man. Block that guy. You never fucking know. You never know it. It looks like 26 down there, but Harold Fanon is pretty big. We just saw him break like their best safeties tackle. Just threw off Max Crosby, right? Like, definitely give him the chance to regather and get that ball at least past the 50. Got to do better than that. All right. But that's a fine job by SHEDEUR. Sorry about that. I'm still in double time. This one looked a lot worse on the TV broadcast than it does on all 22. Because on the TV broadcast, it looked like he just threw this right at Chin. That's not what happened at all. What happened here is Harold Fanon got to his spot late. Right? He gets caught up with Max Crosby, which is understandable. So Max holds him there, and then Max fills it. And then that ball looks off target because he got to his spot late. I don't know how much that play would have worked, but that's what he's trying to do. It's just, this is another one where if you get some better protection here. Well, yeah, it's not really the fault of the protection more than it's like they just brought more numbers than you got on the line. But yeah, if you were able to kind of slide the protection in the right place, which is, something he's going to learn as he gets more experience, you might have been able to hit Jerry Jeudy here. This would have been tough because Chin has pretty good depth here. So you're going to have to layer this one over. And you really got to watch this corner's eyes because he might look and try to rob that, right? So you really got to wait until 22 has his back turned here. Also, maybe if SHEDEUR was able to kind of shake that guy, there's a big opportunity here to gauge Larvinen, who breaks up. Now, this looks very familiar. And that looks very familiar because the Browns went back to that and SHEDEUR identified that. So when they do this again, it's not going to be Gage Larvinen that's in that role. It's going to be Isaiah Bond, and he does make that throw. So they did look at this and go, oh, shit, there's something there here. These level concepts were open all day, by the way, for the Browns. But yeah, that I don't mind the decision there. Quick pressure in the face. You just want to dump that off. You kind of throw it to a spot there. Harold Fain is just not in that spot. 3rd and 8 on the 46, late first quarter. They went right back to it, right? Yeah, they went right back to it. This is legit the same play. Well, not the same exact play, but similar concept they went back to, right? Tight end, chips, and releases. They have somewhere in the middle of the depth here. It's a comeback here with Tillman, but then it's a post here. And they're doing this because of how the safeties are playing. Watch these safeties. You see how the safety comes in and he takes the tight end, which leaves 30 on the island. SHEDEUR identifies it right here. And then this is the kind of throw that gives you 5 years of an NFL career, right? Like every throw you make like that, add 5 years to your career. People will try to make it work, right? Because this is a throw that not a lot of people can make. You ever wonder why like Zach Wilson's in the league? Like why Sam Darnold got so many chances? Because you go look at their tape, there's throws like this in their tape. These are the kind of throws that give you time to develop in the NFL. Because these are the kind of throws that raise the eyebrows of GMs. These are the kind of throws that raise the eyebrows of coaches. These are the kind of throws that raise the eyebrows of your teammates, as we saw with Myles Garrett on the sideline, right? Not everybody can make this throw in the league. Like this is one of those throws, like you can't get a guy off the waiver wire to do that, right? This is the kind of stuff that keeps you in the league. And this is the kind of stuff that makes people who say like SHEDEUR Sanders doesn't even belong in the NFL sound stupid. Because not everybody making this throw. That's a beautiful throw right there. So good on him. Way to identify it. Good job by whoever's working the iPads to get on that. Maybe it was SHEDEUR identified it and said, hey, let's get back to that. But however it went down, great process there. Because legitimately, was that right before that same play? Yeah, it was on 2nd and 8. 2nd and 8, they realized, oh, they're not playing anybody over top if we go deep. Like they're robbing shit. Like, you know, they're bringing their safeties down into the box every play. So if we run a corner, it's gonna hit. We just gotta throw it, right? Because they got nobody down there. And this throw, I think for the rest of the game, kind of put the Raiders in an interesting spot because now they got to respect the deep ball. All right, let's go to the next one. Quarter 2, second quarter. And the big mistake, right? The interception here. So what happens here on this interception? I think it's plain and simple. He got fooled. So 49 on the line. He drops back into coverage. And he does a really good job faking out SHEDEUR. Right? He rolls out here, plays like he has the running back, and then sneaks back into his zone. Really played him. If you're SHEDEUR, this is why you can't fuck around on these kind of throws here, right? So SHEDEUR just kind of like, he hesitated. He really didn't get a lot behind this throw. Like, this ball doesn't laser in there. There's a little bit of an arc to it. You want him to drive that a little bit more. The window's just really small, right? And you saw this sometimes at his tape at Colorado, where he would kind of like, he would throw some of these routes like, wouldn't be like he wouldn't put everything on it. You got to put everything on this. That's the difference. This guy, number 49, you might not know who he is, but he's going to be athletic enough to close that window on you in the NFL. It's just a learning moment there. Whoo, hell of a learning moment, because look at this. They brought the pile back to this motherfucker. By the way, number 49 was trying to be the answer to who welcomed you to the NFL, SHEDEUR Sanders. Because look what 49 does here. He gets this ball. He's not even trying to score. He beelines straight to the quarterback. He's trying to run him over again. He's definitely trying to, he's trying to get a welcome to he's trying to be SHEDEUR's answer to welcome to the NFL. Hilarious. And then the whole fucking pile lands on him. Yeah, I mean, that's just a welcome to the league moment, right? I wouldn't freak out too much about that interception. I thought the interception last week was more concerning than that one. All right, 2nd and 16. Again, just notice how often the Browns offense in this game, 2nd and 16, 3rd and 16. If you're wondering why their EPA numbers and success rate numbers were so terrible in this game, had everything to do with the amount of pre-snap penalties they got on offense. Right? I don't think the EPA numbers and the success rate numbers are really reflective of the quarterback play in this game. Yeah, I mean, what else could you do? Like, when you get into, and the reason that is, right, if you don't know how success rate works, it's basically saying how much of a percentage of the down to gain do you get on 2nd down. But when the down to gain is 2nd and 16, right? Let's say on 2nd down, they want you to get 60% of what you need for a 1st down. When it's 2nd and 5, that number is going to be, about 3-4 yards. But if it's 2nd and 10, that number is going to be 6 yards. And now 2nd and 16, it becomes even more yards. So it becomes harder to achieve the success rate numbers that you need to. So, that factors in, right? That's why you can't just ever look at a stat alone. And that's why the success rate numbers were so terrible this week for the Browns offense, because they're just in 3rd and 11, 3rd and 15, 2nd and 17, like all game. 3rd and 11 here. It's also why I leave the down and distances up on the film review so people can have a grip of that. I don't know where this one's going. I would imagine he's trying to hit Jerry Jeudy here. Right? He's trying to hit Jerry Jeudy here. But this ball just carries to the sideline. Maybe he's just throwing it out of bounds. I think he's just throwing it out of bounds here. That's fine. I don't mind that. All right. 2nd, 4 minutes left to go. 1st and 10. Little rollout action here. Sets his feet. Nice find to Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, brain fart. So let's break this down a little bit more. All right, let's get to the beginning of the play. So first, just by going through. Good job by SHEDEUR. Seeing this giant void here in the middle of the field. He sees it. And I know some people are like, he's wide open. That's easy. Yeah, I mean, we've seen quarterbacks not see it. So I want to say it's easy. I don't think anything about playing quarterback in the NFL is easy. All right, so finds that void. Boom. Good job. Jerry Jeudy immediately goes north. Good job. Jerry Judy's a beast with the ball in his hands. Then he does all this wide receiver shit. Oh my goodness. This is the most wide receiver stuff I've ever seen in my life. Slows down, does this little hop step juke. Now, he did this successfully the week before. I will give Jerry Jeudy that, right? He did this successfully. It was a highlight of the game. He almost kept the Browns in the game with it. He's trying to do it here. But the problem with Jerry Jeudy here is that he is completely unaware of the fact that there is somebody down here. Now, could David Njoku be more involved here? I think so, right? David Njoku. He sees Jerry Jeudy catch this. He never moves from here. Why is David Njoku important? Because the guy who punches it out, Jeremy Chin, his guy, right? David just watches this play. Could David be more involved here so that Jerry can at least feel that there's a presence on his outside shoulder? Absolutely. Is David Njoku responsible for this? No. This is Jerry Jeudy's fault. You just got to be more aware of your surroundings than this. And stop doing the wide receiver shit. I don't know why wide receivers love this. I don't know why. They love the stanky leg and the stop and all this one-on-one route bullshit. I don't get it, man. Maybe I'm just older now. I hate when wide receivers just decide to do all the wide receiver shit. Just play football. Just run that shit like a normal play. There is not a single other position that would do some shit like this in the open field. You throw this bitch to a running back, what's a running back doing? They're tucking the ball and they're putting their shoulder into somebody's chest. If this is Harold Fainin, what are they doing? Only a wide receiver gets the ball here and just, I'm a hop step him. What we doing, bro? Ooh, wide receivers are a different breed. I don't understand them. I can't act like I understand them. I like defensive tackle play. I'm not going to be somebody who loves wide receivers. This shit, y'all drive me crazy with this bullshit. Only position on the fucking team that would do something like this is wide receiver. And look, Jerry Jeudy shouldn't do this. I'm not writing this off on Jerry Jeudy being a wide receiver. I'm just asking, why is it only wide receivers who do shit like this? Like, only wide receivers do some dumb shit like that. Nobody else on the team does something like that. But I've seen like 4 or 5, like every single person that you've ever seen do some shit like that. It's always a wide receiver. 3rd and 9. And this is one of the more regular down and distances the Browns had in this game, 3rd and 9. I like this rep by SHEDEUR. So not really a great concept here, right? The Browns run 2 routes. They're both covered. Don't really love the play call here on a 3rd and freaking 9, but I guess they want to keep it simple. Both routes are covered here. SHEDEUR just gets rid of it. What I like about this rep, the hitch and step up. Look at that. Look at that. It looks real nice on SHEDEUR. Step back, pop, pop. Okay, I like that. I like the step up. I like that we did not see any twist or spins or aerobics in this game. Just pop, step up. There we go. All right, nothing there. You got a little escape lane there if you want, or you could just throw the check down. Throw the check down, move on with the game, get the extra field position, get a better punt. Ain't gonna be mad at you. Ain't gonna be mad at you at all. All right. Another play action rep. All right, so they started to get a little hip to what the Browns wanted to do around the 3rd quarter on these level concepts and these boots. So you see right here what they do is, again, because SHEDEUR's, inexperienced, their teams are going to try to take advantage of it. They're going to make him think it's one thing, like he's carrying this, but he's really going to play this zone. And he almost comes across and steals this ball here. Because what they do is they give SHEDEUR candy here, right? They say, hey, look, SHEDEUR, look at this. You got to throw this here, right? Because it's Cedric Tillman on a linebacker. That's a matchup. You're going to want that. They give him the candy, knowing that somebody's here to take the candy if he throws the candy. Now, what they're also doing in this situation is they're putting their safety in a precarious spot because it's going to be hard for him to cover. But they're betting on SHEDEUR not seeing that, and they're betting that SHEDEUR is going to take the candy. And he did. And he almost got intercepted. Now, if you're the Browns here, it's got to be a little bit less predictable, right? The reason this player got onto this, right, is because the Browns ran this play. We watched the tape. They ran this play like 8 times already at this point. So they got to be a little bit less predictable. And I worry about, the longer and longer you play, if the playbook doesn't expand with SHEDEUR, the teams are going to key in and you're going to see more stuff like this. But yeah, this comes with being predictable. There's really nothing you could tell SHEDEUR here. This is a trap. They're giving you the look that you want and they're trapping you in it. There's really no way around that, right? Like you can't anticipate that it's a trap every time. You'll just become static at the quarterback position. So this is why it's important to not be predictable, because it becomes real easy to trap your quarterback, especially when they're younger, and don't really have that spidey sense. It becomes real easy to trap them. All right. Little screen here. Nothing to really evaluate. Let's move on to the next play. 3rd and 12 again. Notice how many times they're in 3rd and long situations. This is one of my favorite reps of the game from both players. Love this rep from SHEDEUR. So shotgun, 3rd and 12. He understands that he's within the 5 yards of the goal line, which means you cannot roll back. Like once you feel your heels on that goal line, you need to stop. SHEDEUR feels this. Look at this. He feels his heels on the goal line. He feels some pressure. He doesn't panic, but he understands I can't move backwards anymore. I got to get rid of this ball now. So he gets rid of the ball. He understands there's probably going to be pressure in his face. So he gets on his tippy toes like Drew Brees. Really extends that arm. This is real Drew Brees like as far as the mechanics go. And gets this ball to Harold Fainin, his check down. Really good because he doesn't even see Harold Fainin. He knows Harold Fainin's there because he knows this play really well. Checks this down to Harold Fainin. And this is why it's always good to throw your check down when all hell's loose, because you never know. You never know. You never know when somebody's going to just bowl through like 5 guys. This is my favorite play of the game from SHEDEUR. Obviously, the nice throw was like everybody else's favorite. And I like that play as well. But this right here is like, oh, that's real progress right here, right? We knew SHEDEUR could do maybe not that level of a throw, but something like it. We've seen it in preseason. We've seen it in practice. This is the stuff that I wanted to see, right? The meat and potato stuff, right? We knew he had gravy. Can he put together the main courses here? This is something that encourages me a great deal because this is what you need to do that. It's not always going to be the big play. Something like this. It's just as important, though. All right. 3rd and 6 here. Oh, wow. Look at this. A regular down and distance. Browns start off with a little bit of stack, motion Sampson into the backfield. I have no clue what the fuck SHEDEUR is doing on this play. This is the only play he had that confused me. This was obviously a screen, right? Like they have three guys out here that are blocking. They're just waiting for him to come across. And then Dylan Sampson comes across here. Why is SHEDEUR even acting like there are options on this play? Just throw the fucking screen. Like what play does SHEDEUR think was in here? He's looking at the backside slant. Like maybe he thought that was an option there, but man, that has to happen. You can't have this many dropbacks. Now, this play ended up being DOA. Let's see, what is it? They got this DOA. Oh yeah, because he snapped the ball while his guy was in motion. Ultimately, I got to see what the play clock was on to see if that's SHEDEUR's fault or not, right? Like, because if he had to just get the ball off, you got to get the ball off. But it's like, okay, what's the execution here? Because this is a design screen, right? You have this as an alert, but if this is an alert, there's no waiting. You're ripping that bitch right off gun. Like there's no wait to develop. This is not a pass play. This is a option play. So like this is taking way too fucking long, even if this is a backside alert option on this play. You know, so don't know what he's doing here. The ball should just be to just throw the fucking ball to the screen. This is where it's supposed to be. The other reason you want him to throw the ball right now is it's real easy to get ineligible receiver downfield. So the line of scrimmage is here, right? Which means your offensive linemen really only get to about here before they're ineligible downfield. And he's not going to be looking at you, SHEDEUR. He's going to be looking at the play. So he's going to break through that zone and get an ineligible downfield penalty as well. And it's like, what are we waiting on? This is not a play where you're going through progressions. You make this decision on pre-snap, right? Like you look at that and you say, all right, am I ripping this? Is the alert there? If the alert's there, no. Let's throw the screen. If the alert's there, all right, we're ripping that off. We're throwing that off rip. This is not a go through your progressions situation. It's either this or this. There's no wait for both. So don't really know what happened here. Feels like he's the only one who doesn't know the play call. That can't be the case because he's the one who gave everybody the play call. So it's like, what the fuck? What was this? You know, would love to know what the conversation was for this play. Not the biggest deal in the world again. You know, maybe it was a rookie mistake. Maybe he thought the coach said something on the headset that he didn't. And this never happens again. Very likely. Just got to figure out what happened here. Because this shouldn't happen. This shouldn't happen. They had a good call in too. You see David Njoku. David Njoku's like, bro, what the fuck were you doing? Look at this. Yeah, look, you play a rookie, sometimes shit like that happens. It is what it is. It's not a big deal. But it's certainly something went wrong. All right, SHEDEUR, little roll. So, also, this is going to matter the more SHEDEUR plays, right? Teams are going to start to key in on your tendencies, right? I think the first thing you're going to see next week is that the Raiders, the 49ers, are going to key in on this little tendency right here, right? Rolling right. He likes to roll right. Now, a lot of quarterbacks like to roll right. I remember going and having the same conversation about Baker Mayfield a while back. But it's one thing to roll right. You just got to have a counter punch for when teams start to game plan against it, right? And that's what we'll see if SHEDEUR has, because you can see the Raiders started to plan for that. And the 49ers are going to probably plan even better for that, right? So got to be careful, right? Because the one thing I am seeing is a lot of repetition from both SHEDEUR Sanders and Tommy Rees as the play caller. We're seeing a lot of the same plays, a lot of the same tendencies. That's the stuff that, the more time you play, teams catch up with, and teams start to close in on. So gotta figure out other ways to succeed if you're both Tommy Rees and both SHEDEUR, because you don't want to become predictable. And that's why you see, right, we talk about this all the time, but we're like, oh, well, why did Dillon Gabriel look better in his first game, but he doesn't look as good in his fourth game? Well, that's why, right? Dillon Gabriel had some things that he was good at in that first game. Teams saw those tendencies and just took those away from Dillon, and Dillon didn't have a counterpunch to those things. Now, they're going to see what SHEDEUR could do in this game versus the Raiders. It's like, okay, he can make some throws. He can stretch the field. He really likes to identify downfield angles. Okay, cool. We're gonna take that away from him and then see if he has a counterpunch. If he has one, then he's gonna have a much easier time going forward. If he doesn't, then that's where you start to see everything start to close in on a player. So that's the one thing. If it felt like they kind of spammed a lot of the same stuff in this game, it ended up working, so it's not a big deal. But as you play more games, teams are going to catch on to that. I'm sure if you're watching this at home, you're like, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the same stuff. 3rd and 26 here. We talked about this earlier. He has this tendency to just like, hey, if it's 3rd and super long, I'm going to just YOLO this bitch. This almost ended up being a disaster. So the Browns are up 14-3 here. They have an opportunity at a really long field goal. Again, I understand people just want some excitement at this point in the season. But, if the Browns are playing real games, well, they're playing real games right now. But if the Browns are in playoff contention, you just want your quarterback to make some decisions that make managing the game easier. And it's nice that he could throw this 9 here, but this is just not a good look. There's a big cushion here. It's a one-on-one look, yeah, but the safety has a lot of time to recover here, and you see that the safety recovers. So this isn't open at all. This is just a YOLO ball. Like, fuck it. Let's see what happens here. Throw this ball to your tight end. Let him rumble downfield, get it to like the 25, and, settle for a 35, 40-yard field goal instead of a 55-yard field goal or potentially interception. Because when you throw a ball like this, and the wide receiver knows, like Cedric Tillman knows right here, he's not going to be open. Because the way that this is being played, he's like, all right, I'm not going to be open. So he starts to gear down. But then he sees that the ball got thrown. He's like, oh, shit, let me go chase it. And that almost got intercepted. There was not going to be a good chance of completion there. Maybe you differ with me on that, but I don't think there was going to ever be, even if Cedric Tillman just sprints through this. I think that corner has enough cushion to just gear up with him. He saw Cedric gear down, so then he pressed into his chest. And maybe Cedric lost the ball in the skylight. But yeah, this is don't do this. Because if you go from being able to at least put up 3 to turning that ball over there and the Raiders score off that turnover, the game's completely different. There's no reason to put the ball at risk there. So, not a fan of that. Another roll here. He's just late to this one. Right, so he rolls out. They do a good job of blanketing the middle of the field here. SHEDEUR sees this. He's not there. That's not open. That's not open. Just need to work back to this one a little bit quicker and get this one out because you got plenty of time to make this throw. But he throws it a little late and he throws it off target. All right, this is a 3rd and 9. And this is the big screenplay. Nothing really here. Some good blocking by Harold Fanon and David Njoku. Let's look at the blocking here. Look at Harold Fanon moving ass on grass. Same thing with David Njoku. And then Dylan Sampson just put the Jets on. Basically turned it into a kick return. Big play there. So what you can see in the tape is that there's some flashes of brilliance there. There are some moments where you would want to really know what happened before you really judged. But you know, some questionable moments in there for sure. And there's some moments where you just want him to be able to operate the offense at a little bit of a higher level here. He was able to get away with some of the mismanagement of the offense this week because the Browns' defensive performance was just so dominant, right? But that's not going to be the case every week. You know, some weeks it's going to matter what the field position battle is going to be like and what kind of advantage you can give the defense with a field position battle and all that small stuff that seems so minute in a game with such a big point differential like this one, but does matter in games with closer point differentials. Either way, you can see why the Browns wanted to continue to have him out there as the season goes forward because he can make throws that the other guys on the quarterback roster just can't, you know? And when that's the case, you got to see what you got there, right? So we'll see what SHEDEUR could do next week. We're going to take it 1 week at a time, try not to get too carried away, positive or negative as the week goes on. But that's my thoughts of his second game, but first start. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.